Hi friends, let's read the book today, Mrs. McTats and Her House Full of Cats by Alyssa Satin Capucilli, illustrated by Joan Rankin. This book is about Mrs. McTat, her cat Abner, and lots of visitors that come scratching at her door. In a small cozy cottage lived Mrs. McTats. She lived all alone, except for one cat. Every morning she left as the clock struck 8 to the market to market. I mustn't be late. Chappie loves this book. She browsed through the market and chose a plump fish. For Abner and me, what a sumptuous dish! But when she got home, there came a scratch at the door, and in walked 2 cats. Was there room for 2 more? "Come in, my sweet dears," said Mrs. McTats. "I'm sure I've got room for just 2 more cats. I'll call you Basil, and Curly you'll be." "I only had 1 cat, but now I have 3. The very next morning, Mrs. McTats woke early. She stopped to pet Abner and Basil and Curly. To market, I mustn't be late. The chicken, I think, will surely taste great." This is Daisy's favorite part. But when she got home, there came a scratch at the door, and in walked 3 cats. Was there room for 3 more? "Come in, my sweet dears," said Mrs. McTats. "I think I've got room for just 3 more cats." "Now give me a moment. What shall your names be?" "You're Dolly, you're Ernest, and Fuzzy makes 3. The very next morning off went Mrs. McTats. "What can I buy for my 6 hungry cats?" "I've got it," she said. "I'll make a nice stew." So she carried home beef and liver to brew. But back at home there came a scratch on the door, and in walked 4 cats. Was there room for 4 more? "Come in, my sweet dears," said Mrs. McTats. "I know there's a place for just 4 more cats. 10's a fine number, 10 cats and me. I'll call you Goldie, and Herman you'll be. Izzy and Jezebel pranced across the floor, and then right behind them followed 5 more, Coco and Linus, Millie, Noreen, and you shall be Oscar. That makes 15. The very next day, off went Mrs. McTats. What can I possibly feed 15 cats? She chose a fresh tuna. She chose a fine trout. But when she got home, all her cats were out. She counted her cats from 1 to 15, but somehow 6 more cats had joined the scene. Come, my sweet dears," said Mrs. McTats. "I'm sure I have plenty for 21 cats. Pip, Quip, and Rosebud, Sally, Tosie, Ursula dear, make yourself cozy." But then came another scratch at the door. Could it be more cats? How many more? In came Violet, in came Winnie, and just behind, a kitten named Zinny. In came Yodel, the last of the bunch. 25 cats, ready for lunch. But something was missing. What could it be? Just what was it? Mrs. McTats could not see. As she stood there puzzling, there was a scratch at the door. And Mrs. McTats wondered, could there really be more? Could she squeeze in more cats? More than 25? Who was the one? Who was next to arrive? "Come in, my sweet dear," said Mrs. McTats. "I live in this cottage with 25 cats. But if you don't mind, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to eat. You're welcome to play." Now, in that small cottage lives Mrs. McTats, all happy and cozy with 25 cats. And one little puppy who's known as Zoom, in a small, cozy cottage with plenty of room. And just when the clock strikes each morning at 8, Mrs. McTats hurries off. "I mustn't be late. To market, what treats will there be for 26 dears from A to Z?" That's the end, friends. Tell me the names of your cats in the comments. Until next time, friends, Daisy will see you soon. Take care. Take care, friends.